today I am going to be talking about relationships. I get questions all the time asking me, how do I handle arguments and fights? How do I stay in a committed relationship? Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that I'm some kind of perfect human being or that I have this perfect, amazing, ideal relationship. I just feel like I've always been a good communicator with people in general. So anyway, I'm just going to share just some general advice. With all that said, let's just get into it. Okay, so the first piece of advice I have, and this I know sounds very, very cliche, and so many people say this, but it's because it really is true. Communication is key. And I think a lot of people hear that and they're just like, okay, yeah, you need to communicate, whatever. And maybe they just think communicating just means talking, but it's not really that simple. When I think of communication, I just think trying to understand the other person as much as possible and having them understand you and meeting each other halfway and being as open as possible as to what you're thinking and what's on your mind and how you're feeling, and just putting everything out there on the table, not playing mind games, not holding things back, not trying to trick the other person or test the other person, just being open and honest. And I think that a lot of the times, especially if you, I don't like to generalize, but especially if you are in kind of a typical heterosexual relationship, stereotypically, I guess, men and women kind of tend to see things differently. They think very differently, and that is definitely true in my relationship, in a lot of my friends' relationships. And so you might feel a certain way. You might be upset because of something that the other person said or something that they did, and it might make total sense to you why you're upset. You feel like you have every reason to feel the way that you're feeling, and you feel that they should know and understand not only that you are upset, but why you're upset. But you might not realize that they might not have any idea, because to them, it wasn't a big deal. And they just don't get it. They don't understand. And so it's your job as one half of this relationship to communicate your feelings and your thoughts and, oh, this is bothering me and here's why. And it goes both ways, obviously. If you see that your partner is upset, they're mad at you for something, or whatever the case may be, and maybe you don't understand why, or you're not getting it, you're not understanding their perspective, you need to open up to them and find out why. And I know that, and I've been guilty of this in the past too, a lot of the times, especially, again, stereotypically, women, when you ask them, what's wrong? Is something bothering you? No, no, nothing's bothering me, but really something is. You just wish that they would already know. People are not mind readers, okay? And so both people in the relationship need to be responsible. You need to not only stop playing games and just be truthful and open, and at the same time, both of you need to try to meet each other halfway, try to understand each other, and also try to explain how you're feeling. And I think another good tip to kind of go along with that is to take a step back for a second. In a situation where there are more emotions involved and you are really, really pissed off and upset, like, it's really easy to just go off of those emotions and just go on attack mode and just, start this big argument. What I do when I'm in a situation like that is I take a step back and I just have to think to myself, wait a second, what is it that's bothering me? Because sometimes you just get so caught up in emotion that you don't even really realize or remember what it was that originally set you off to begin with. So think to yourself, okay, what is it that's bothering me? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I pissed off? Why am I emotional? What do I want? What would make the situation better? What would make me feel better? And once you know what to explain, how to explain yourself to your partner, it'll make the whole situation better. Because if they already have no idea that there even is a problem, or they don't know why you're upset about something, and you're just coming at them with all this emotion and you can't clearly communicate to them what the problem is, nothing's gonna get resolved that way. And if anything, you yelling and being emotional and angry or whatever is just gonna make them emotional and angry too, and so the situation could just escalate from there. So yeah, communication is key. To kind of go along with that, my next tip is never go to sleep mad at each other. I know everybody says that, and I don't necessarily mean that literally. What I mean by that is, as soon as something's bothering you or there's some kind of issue, address it immediately. Don't let things build up. This is something that, like, in the first year or so of my relationship, oh my God, I feel like every argument that we ever got into was a result of me being upset about something, or, you know, whatever, my feelings getting hurt about something, and just pushing it off, whatever, not a big deal, and then something else would happen. Just all these little small things would happen, and eventually they would just build up and build up, because after the first thing, I'd be like, all right, I'm a little pissed off about that, but whatever, it's not a big deal, I'm not gonna bring it up, I don't wanna start a fight over something stupid like that. Second thing happens, but I'm still thinking about the first thing because that never really got resolved. So now there's two things that have happened that I'm, you know, feeling some kind of way about. Then the third thing, fourth thing, etc., etc., etc. If you never really talk about a problem and it never gets resolved, it still might be bothering you a little bit deep down. And maybe you don't even realize, maybe you think that you totally forgot about it, but then all of a sudden something so small and stupid might happen, and all of a sudden it sets you off, because all of the little things that have been building up over the past few weeks or months or whatever, they just get too much and you just explode. And your partner has no idea that all these things have been building up inside of you because you kept pushing it off and you never told them. And so now you're really, really pissed and emotional, and they think it's just because they forgot to put the toilet seat down. But really, it's about so many other things that happened maybe, you know, months ago or something. My next tip is to choose your battles. This is something that I definitely stress to people a lot too. I have a few friends, one friend in particular, who always will text me asking my opinion on a certain fight that's going on between her and her boyfriend. And a lot of the times it's something that's so stupid, and I don't even understand why it's even a fight to begin with. You're not always going to 100% agree with the person you're with. They're gonna do things that annoys you. They're going to have habits that drive you crazy. But that doesn't mean that you need to pick apart every little thing they do and fight them over every little thing. And also, I mean, the more you're fighting, you're just gonna get exhausted. It's going to put a strain on your relationship. So save all of the fighting for the big problems, the real things that are worth an argument. I'll actually give one specific example. My friend was actually fighting with her boyfriend because he was going to be coming with her to a work party, but he was refusing to shave his beard, and she said that he just looked homeless. Express your opinion if that's how you feel, but if he really doesn't want to, oh well. The important thing is that he's coming with you to this party or this event or whatever. I mean, isn't that the important part? The fact that he is there to support you? Is his facial hair really that big of a deal? Is it really worth fighting over? Especially because what if this fight just escalates so much that then he decides, like, well, forget it, I'm just not even gonna come then. Would you rather him be there supporting you with a beard, or you be alone and him not be there at all? You know, what's more important? Choose your battles. My next tip is very, very basic. I mean, this is what you learn in preschool, but it is to have respect and to essentially just treat others the way you want to be treated. So have respect for your partner, obviously. I mean, I know this sounds so obvious and it's so ridiculous to even say, but I feel like the people who cheat on their partners and who just do really shady, messed up things and betray their partners, you obviously didn't respect them, because if you respected them, you wouldn't have done those things to them at all. If you don't respect your partner's not respecting you, then why are you, like, you should not be with that person. So yeah, a very, very basic thing, but still a very, very important core part to a relationship. Okay, and then my last tip is to have standards, but don't be impossible. I have had so many friends, well, I've actually seen like some of my mom's friends too, where they just have very, very low standards when it comes to the people that they're in relationships with, because they just feel either like they don't deserve that much, or they'd rather just be with someone at all than to be alone. You should have pretty high standards for yourself when it comes to a relationship. You should be with someone who respects you, who loves you, who treats you the way that you deserve to be treated, and someone that you can have fun with, and someone that you love too, someone that you want to be around, someone that brings joy and positivity to your life. However, I think that sometimes some people, especially in the age of social media, people get very caught up in fantasy, and so they overlook the good things that they really have. There's all of these pictures of these perfect, beautiful, model-looking couples on Instagram, and I feel like there's so many people that I know, either just because I follow them online or I know them in real life, and they just make their relationships out to be like this perfect, amazing thing. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'm like, wow, their relationship seems perfect. It seems like they never even fight. Maybe my relationship isn't as good as I thought it was. But you have to realize that what you're seeing online is just a very, very edited version of a relationship. And so what you're seeing is A, only gonna be the good parts, and B, they're probably hyped up and exaggerated. Seriously though, if I see like another picture of a couple and someone comments, relationship goals, like, you know nothing about that actual couple and their actual relationship. But yeah, stop comparing your situation in your relationship to the perfect couples on Instagram. Stop comparing it to movies, because it's fantasy, it's not real. You can definitely do some serious self-sabotaging if you continue to think that way. Look at the good things that you have and appreciate the positive, good things that you do have, and stop having these unrealistic expectations for your relationship and for your partner. All right, so I think those are most of my tips. I hope that you guys enjoyed those tips and found it helpful. I mean, a lot of it is pretty simple, basic stuff, but I feel like when you're caught up in the moment, they're not really things that you're thinking clearly about. So remind yourself of these things. Envision certain situations that you might be in, certain fights in the past that you've had, and how could you have handled that situation differently or better. Like I said in the beginning of the video, please let me know if you have any specific things that you would like some advice on, or just like an outside opinion. It doesn't have to necessarily be relationship related. It can really be anything that you want. I just really, to be honest, kind of had like writer's block, so to speak, when it came to these videos, and I think that's kind of why I wasn't doing them as often. I get really inspired by hearing from other people, so I think that'd be really cool to just do like an entire episode, so to speak, just answering specific questions. Also, just let me know too if there's any just general topics that you'd like me to talk about. I definitely want to be doing these videos more frequently, but I need some inspiration and some ideas, so please let me know. Anyway, if you guys like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone that you think might also enjoy it and find it helpful.